Okay, this is a continuation from Working the Net, talking about network and how network is old as dirt, has been established from days over old and ancient times. Jesus dealt with the network. If anybody knew how to work the net, was the Lord. And then there were those in the Bible that understood what network means. And now my passion, my concern is for us as people of God that have business. It's important for us to understand that we have to support each other. Network doesn't work unless we reach out and touch and help each other. In order for it to work, you have to reach out and help somebody else. If God had intended for us to be alone and do things on our own, He never would have created Eve and never would have told Adam and Eve to get together, connect, be fruitful, and multiply. If that was not God's plan. And that plan was successful because God set it in motion. And in order for the world to be populated and things to be recreated, somebody had to connect with the other person. Adam couldn't take on all the credit and ability in the garden by himself and do the will of God, which was to be fruitful and multiply by himself. So God created another alongside of him and say, you two work together to create this. And what we're going to do is create families. Each one of you are going to connect. And when you connect, you're going to produce another set of family. And that family is going to reach out and connect, and they're going to have another set of families. And those families connected together is going to be called a community. All right, then now the community itself is going to reach out and connect to another community. And when that community reach out and connects to another community, that's called a nation. When a nation and another nation reaches out to each other and they connect from one nation to another nation, that's called the world. When Jesus called the disciples, he didn't call one, he called 12. And they made disciples. Each one reached one. Okay? Here's a business model. In order for your business to be successful, you've got to reach out and help somebody else be successful. It is a sad thing in our culture, and I'm going to be real down to earth right here. It's a sad thing I see in our culture particularly. There's a culture that's out there that produces services for us women, and us sisters gonna get the nails done and we're gonna get the toes done. Okay? We're gonna get the hair done. That culture of people will not bring in others that are not of their culture to collect in on the funding side, the financing side of that, or the profit side of that. You probably won't even get hired in. I very seldom see anybody else. You may find a few that they hire that's outside of their culture to support that business. I'm not saying that's good, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying there's unity there and there's power in that unity. That culture of people owns chains of those little shops that provides a service for you to feel good about yourself. What is wrong with us? We won't help support each other. We're going to talk about each other. We're going to down each other. We're going to always talk about somebody player hating. I am so sick of hearing about somebody player hating. What is that? Who cares? I'm not interested in what color your hair is or how bomb your weave is. Girl, if your weave is working, it is working. It is the bomb. I'm going to tell you it's the bomb. Okay? If your makeup is on point and you got a few dollars and you can buy some of the best makeup out there, and it looks good. Ain't no sense in me getting upset with you because you got a few dollars over spending change to go buy MAC or whatever it is that you buy, and I'm still stuck on CoverGirl. Matter of fact, I may have MAC money, but I like CoverGirl. I wear Maybelline. If I can find something that works with me, I'll buy us. Some I have found, but it's not quite as, it doesn't really necessarily fit my skin tone. It makes me look a little off, so I can't wear that. But the first place I do look is for us. Why we can't support each other? Social media is the worst place in the world. That's why you better hold on to God's unchanging hand, because it seems like we all trying to go somewhere, but what we don't understand is we got to get there together. God never intended for us to be lone rangers or independents. In order for you to be successful, you got to help somebody else be successful. Find some kind of way to support their business. If it's something you can't use, or service that you don't need, then pass on the word. There is too many people out here that have needs. You may not have a need for credit repair services, but you know this sister girl is got a house full of children. She's a single mom and she's trying to start her business, and you won't support her. Now let's just take it on the other end. I mentioned it the other day when I talked about this. You want me to support you? You need my help? Then you're gonna have to give me a good customer service. You can't treat me like a second-class citizen. You can't be unprofessional. You got to work it, okay? So it goes hand in hand now. I find it hard to believe that everybody in our culture does not know how to treat somebody well in business, okay? That's called integrity. It's called the spirit of excellence. So if you want to support, then you need to give support. Social media is disappointing that others can support each other worldwide. We get on here, and if you don't like the way the sister look, don't like the way she talking, you talking about she trying to be bougie, she trying to be that, or she thinks she this. How do you know what I think? You don't even know me. But if I'm presenting my product well or my services well, and even if you didn't use it, but you knew somebody who could, what harm is it for you to hit like and share? Like and share. I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about people I know that have businesses that have the same story. This poor lady was on Steve Harvey's program, and she was saying the thing. She had a great service. Matter of fact, I think she was selling clothes or something. And he had her on his show, and she stood up and asked a question. And I hated the way the answer came, but it was right there in your face. When he got through analyzing the problem, because she couldn't get the support, she said people would use her product and never share on Facebook, or never tell anybody about her stuff, and then expected her to give them discounts, and y'all know how we be doing. And when it's time to return the product, they didn't return it right the way they got it. It was used or not clean. If you're gonna wear somebody's clothes on a loaner, you need to put the stuff in the cleaners before you return it, y'all. That's just not fair. It's just not right. And so what he told her was just cut them off. Now, I don't like that kind of mentality, but if that's the way we got to do to treat each other, then we need to go back and try this again. People of God, we should not be in that. We should not be in that category. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is networking and working in net. Great example, and we're going to get into it more in part 3, is how God allowed David in the Bible. In 1 Chronicles chapter 28, it talks about how he's commissioning Solomon now to build the temple. Let's talk about what happened. David had built relationships and business relationships over his lifetime. And now it's time for him to expose that to his son. Because now, of course, we know the story. David was wanting to build a temple. He went to the man of God and asked God, would that be the will of God for him to build the temple? And this is what he wanted to do. And then Nathan the prophet said, do whatever's in your heart. Well, he said, do what's in your heart. That's what he told him, man. But then God got back into Nathan's ear and said, listen, go back and tell my servant, no, that's a wonderful thing, but he won't build the temple. His son is going to build a temple. Okay, so now instead of David getting upset and all bent out of shape and full of jealousy and envy and raging at his son, which unfortunately in real life, those kind of things happen. That's probably why a lot of our businesses don't succeed, because we're so full of jealousy. And I hate this term that I hear among us as people, crab mentality. We pull each other down. But honestly, historically, it seems to be true. We can change that. We can change that. Let's change that. So instead of David taking that side, that mentality, David says, listen, all right, son, The Lord said I couldn't do it, but you're gonna do it. All right, let's get this bad boy on the. Let's get this bad boy going. Let's put this thing on the train. Okay. He went and got his business associates, his book of business associates. They sat down, had a business meeting, introduced Solomon to all of these people, and said, "Listen, my son is gonna build a temple. I need y'all to work with my boy." Okay. So David had great business relationships, had great favor among the people. Not only did the Lord bless David to pass on the wealth, the inheritance, and the kingdom unto his son, that's the natural side, but David also was able to pass on favor, the favor of God unto Solomon. That's the spiritual. So there is a great thing going on here with network connecting, connected. You can't pass on something if you're not connected to somebody. Okay? So here's David, got everything all ready for him, gathered up all the supplies, put everything in storage, and say, okay, son, when the time comes, all the gold you're going to need, all the silver, all the equipment, everything you're going to need, all the workers. I mean, David hooked Solomon up. All Solomon had to do was wait for the Lord to say go. All right. That's recorded in the first book of Chronicles towards the last 26, chapter 25 through 28. You can read the story for yourself. It's a great opportunity to see how David passed that on. Business. Now, not only did he get the business sense to his son, and it showed God was favored with it. God had anointed and ordained that network, working in that. Solomon now. Solomon takes position. Solomon builds a temple, starts to build a temple. Solomon reaches out to those people that his father put him in touch with. The uplines, if you will. Those were the uplines. Solomon reached up. Now, Solomon had, look, you're talking about I hate this term, but people have said it. Let's just say this one. Multi-level marketing. That was then. This is what that was about. David had hooked up everything, and on every level of David's connections was a prophet. He had to have the connections there because he needed equipment to run the kingdom, to fight the wars. He needed the swords and the shields. So he had to have established a network of business, an established network of business, a level of marketing. Listen, I'm going to barter you this, I'm going to give you that, and I need this. And on every level, from every generation, there was something going on. So whatever David needed, he got it from every level, on every instance. Y'all gonna miss this if you don't get it. I mean, there's something else here. So I said before, every network marketing company is not crook and hook. Networking is an awesome tool to use to have success in business. Okay. So what happened was, now David passes on his network to his son. And so now Solomon reaches up to get what he needs, to the uplines that were in front of him that knew the business. They were the mentors. They knew what had to be done. They know what kind of material that he needed to have a certain type of sword. They knew. Okay. So Solomon was wise enough to use it. Let me tell you how Solomon got his wealth. He got his wealth because he had wisdom. God gave him wisdom. We all know the story. But the wisdom that he had was on how to relate to others, how to connect to others. If he had the mentality that we have been said to have culturally and historically as the crab mentality, he would have never had the greatness in the kingdom that he had. He would have never had the wealth, because you got to connect to others to get for yourself. If that was the case, God would have made one person and one person to rule the world. That's not what he did. Solomon had enough sense to connect to others and make business alliances, connections, support. All right, sister Cleopatra Sheba, Queen of Sheba, comes out of Ethiopia to visit, and she's bringing boatloads of stuff, but he done made a connect. Now, she gets there and she's overwhelmed, but she's overwhelmed enough and smart enough to say, you know what, I need to connect to that. Okay, not only is the brother man fine and rich and all that, but I need to connect to that because look at his network. Okay, God gave Solomon the ability and the sense enough to reach out and to connect and support everybody else in business around him. People of God, before we go to part 3 of this, insight, dynamite insight, working the net, we're going to have to understand that if we have opportunity to support somebody else, our businesses are not going to be successful until we do that. You are not alone. You cannot stand alone. You need the dollars that I got in my pocket to support your business. Now, guess what? You can't afford to be selfish. If you want somebody to support you, you need to reach in your pocket and support them. Fair is fair. Otherwise, you'll sit there and wish on a star and hope that somebody bless you, or God will rain all these grand, great blessings on you because you're blessed and highly favored, and you sit there with your selfish-minded self and refuse to support somebody else because you don't want them to shine but more than you. You don't want them to make more money than you. I don't like her. I heard. If you don't know, then your heard is a lie, okay? Find out why your sister girl's got it going on and you don't. Go ask questions, okay? Let's stop the madness, because God's trying to put something in our hands as a people now, in this day, in this time where the transfer of wealth is occurring. You're going to miss your boat because you got stupid thinking. Let's change that. Stinking thinking is what they say. Work the net. Jesus worked the net. The perfect example was when he went and took the fishermen and said, listen, I'm going to teach you how to be fishermen of men, working the net. He went and connected 12 disciples to other disciples, and they connected and discipled, and they connected and discipled. And now the gospel is spreading throughout the whole world because of one network activity. One person connected to the other, sharing and passing it on. If they hadn't done that, we wouldn't have the gospel today. We would be lost. If Jesus didn't set it up where one person started the whole thing, he started it and he connected himself to us and say, now you go pass that out and you go get this one. You go touch that life and they're going to touch your life. You're going to go and bless them and they're going to be a blessing to you. That's just how it is. All right, my time is out for part 2. We're going to be working on part 3. Go ahead and finish out the network, working the net. God bless you. Take care. Be blessed. Bye.